Hi, I'm Bran.
And I'm Dan.
And welcome to the Philo Deep Dive.
Oh, my goodness.
Woo-hoo.
We have a podcast called Deck the Hallmark. We watch a lot of TV Christmas movies.
So many.
And we're so thrilled to be a part of the Philo family. But what we found, Bran, is that not only can you find virtually any TV Christmas movie you want on Philo, there is so much more right under that Christmas TV movie surface.
It's a lot. It's a lot. And so what Dan and I have decided we want to do is every week dive into the world of Philo and find something that tickles our fancy.
That's right.
And tell you about it. And maybe it'll tickle your fancy as well. And then you can find more of it right here on Philo.
You could get lost in the Philo catalog.
I sure could.
You really could.
I have.
Yeah, I have too. And what I decided on this week, being Philo Deep Dive, is I was going to find something that I thought first and foremost would tickle your fancy.
Ooh.
I was like, I know my buddy Bran.
You do know me.
And I'm going to find something that I think he would maybe like.
Okay.
And I think I found something that you would like.
What did you find?
I found the ghosts of Flight 401.
Ooh, I love ghosts.
The ghosts of Flight 401. Now, apparently, this guy, I didn't know this at all. You're a big ghost dude.
I'm a big ghost dude.
You
That's
like
exactly
the ghost
right.
hunter shows.
Yes.
They bring on the paranormal medium and they try to find the ghost. And are they there? Is it just computer done? Like, what's going on there? You love that stuff.
Yeah, I do.
I didn't know that this, like this version of Ghost Hunter exists, which is they take a real history story and they dramatize certain parts of it. They interview people who were there during it, and they're also on the hunt for ghosts all at the same time.
All of this sounds amazing.
Yeah. It sounds like something that you would love.
I love this.
And I'm here to tell you, if you're here for the actual ghost hunting, great. If you're here for just the dramatized scenes of this, probably worth your time.
Okay, great.
So this is on the Travel Channel. You can also find it on demand on the Philo, which is wonderful. And basically, here's what happens. And I don't want to give too much away because I think you're going to have a fun time. But there was a flight in 1972 that was going from JFK to Miami.
Okay.
All right. It was a brand new plane. Brand new plane.
Brand new.
And it crashed in the Everglades. And when it crashed in the Everglades, the swamp cushioned the fall of the plane. And so not everyone died. In fact, I think it was like 60 or 80 people out of 180 survived. 8 out of the 10 flight attendants survived. Like middle of the plane mess. Everywhere else survived. Okay. Right? And after they survived, there was this whole thing that came out that they believed that there were ghosts not only on the plane at the time that made it crash because something went wrong with the autopilot, but also, I don't know why the company, which I don't have written down here, this airline no longer exists. The airline used some of the plane's parts in other planes.
Oh no. That's going to spread the ghost out.
Yeah, it is going to spread the ghost out.
One thing I know about ghosts is that they can connect to objects, and as the objects move, the ghosts then move with it.
See, so what happened is that they put these parts into other planes, and then people would be flying on those planes and say that there were ghosts there. And so what this dude does, who apparently hosts a lot of these ghost of the shows, because it's not the only one Travel Channel does. It's not a one-off. They have Ghost of the whatever, and they have a bunch of these. It's like a series.
Got it.
So it's an hour 30, and so they have a flight attendant who is actually on the plane, but then they have dramatized scenes of people on the plane and dramatized scenes of the pilots and how they're reacting. And then on top of all of that, they bring a film crew out to the Everglades with a psychic medium who goes out, and they don't tell her anything. And they're just you've got to tell us what you think happened here. All we're telling you is a plane crashed nearby. Right. And she's out there going I feel some energy over here. And so then they break out the equipment.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So there's all of these things that are all working together to tell the story.
I love
We
that.
have the real people who were there when it happened. We have the idea of the ghosts and where they may be. We have a ghost hunter actually looking for the ghost. And then we have an actual on location. Pretty awesome.
I love that.
Pretty awesome.
I love that.
Right up your alley.
What is this called again?
It's called Ghost. This one is Ghost of Flight 401.
Okay.
But all of them start with the word ghost.
Ghost.
And it's on the Travel Channel.
Fantastic.
You can get it on demand, so you don't even have to record it on your unlimited DVR. You can get it on demand with some limited ads. Wonderful programming. You would, if you found this, if you were doing the deep dive on Philo and you found this, you would be locked in for the evening. You'd have nothing else to watch. It would be all ghosts all the time.
I love it. Well, I want to keep the creepy vibes going, Dan, because I found a show called Mountain Monster.
Yeah, you did.
This is a show I have seen.
Virginia,
Mountain Monster. I've seen the poster for it over the course of the last year or so, and I decided now is the perfect time to give this a shot. I went into there's like 8 seasons of this show. I decided to dive into a random episode, so I went with season 2, episode 6, which is entitled Sheep Squatch of Boone County. Now, this is not at all related to the Sasquatch.
This is a sheep squatch. How dare you?
Yes.
First of all.
This is Boone County, West Virginia.
Not North Carolina.
Not North Carolina.
So it is Mountain Monster, West Virginia.
It really is.
Country road.
So, Mountain Monster is follows a group of guys that go out into the woods of the mountains to search for different types of creatures. Bigfoots, but in this case, a sheep squatch.
Sheep squatch?
And so it's led by a guy named Trapper. And all of these guys, they have big beards, and they always have their shotguns out, like just in case, which seems very unsafe, but it's Trapper. You trust them.
Yeah, it's Trapper.
And so they go out into these woods. And of course, you go out there at first. They go onto this guy's property that called them out there, and the guy tells them, "Hey, I like to go around my property and hunt for deer. But one day, I saw this thing, and it had these horns. And this sheep squatch is essentially a sheep that's like combined with a lot of other animals. It stands on its hind legs. It has ram horns. It's a nasty creature.
But it's a bipedal. It stands on 2 legs.
It stands on 2 legs. Yes, it does.
Yeah.
And it's around 7 to 8 feet. They know this because he says that I saw this creature eating out of the deer thing, and the deer feeder thing is 7 feet in the air, which I don't know how.
Sure,
I don't know.
Sean Bradley.
No, it's not Sean Bradley, the NBA legend. It is a sheep squatch.
Okay.
So they go out there and they decide, okay, we've heard the story. Let's go out at night, because that's what you do.
Of course.
In these type of shows, which it's very similar to a ghost hunters. They're, instead of investigating ghosts, they're investigating these creatures. So they go out there, and Trapper, they start hearing a noise. It sounds like something is hitting a tree in the distance. Okay. So Trapper and his crew go out there, and they see that something has clawed some bark off of this tree around 7-8 feet up the tree. Trapper looks up and says, I think that the sheep squatch has peed, has marked its territory.
Has peed?
Has urinated. Yes. And it's at this moment, Dan, that a drop or 2 of urine fall on to Trapper's face.
How do we know it's urine?
And Trapper starts screaming in agony. He can't open his eyes. He said there is something wrong with this urine. And he starts hitting his face. He's yelling. He's saying, "Suck it up, Trapper! Suck it up!" Like, no, he's trying to get over it. He's not trying.
He's not trying to suck
up the urine. No, he is not trying to do that. So they have to call it a night.
Okay.
So that allows for another part of his crew the next day to create a trap. Trapper does not do the trapping.
Trapper, no trapping.
Trapper, no trapping. So Trapper decides, the trappers decide they're going to create this thing that when you walk in, this giant fencing falls down onto it. There's barbed wire inside of
Trapper
it.
Keeper.
Trapper Keeper. That's exactly right. So they go out the next night. They move the trap out into the property. And the goal is to move the sheep squash towards the
sheep squatch
towards the trap.
Squash. That's not anything to write
And so, hey, if we move towards it, we're going to separate into 2 groups. We're going to move towards it, and we're going to trap it. And so they're hearing lots of things. They've got the glow in the dark thing where you can see different temperatures on the screen. You know what I'm talking about? And they're like, look at that thing out there. And so they decide this thing's going too fast, and they get into their ATVs. They split up into 2 groups, and their whole thing is we're going to try to push it towards the trap.
Okay.
And Trapper's group says, we see it. They go and they go over this hill, and as they're heading down the hill, they crash into something. They claim it was a sheep squash.
The wind squatch.
Squatch.
Okay.
The windshield completely shattered, except for one piece hanging down.
They have a camera?
And on that one piece, there is a hole that looks like the type of hole that would be caused by a ram horn. The sheep squatch thing gets away.
Didn't get him on film.
They did not get him on film.
Tough. That's tough.
And
break.
so
Maybe
basically, Trapper's whole thing is, hey, we had him pinned in between the ATV and the trap, and he decided instead of going towards the trap, he turned around and he just hit our ATV and then ran off. So they didn't get it. They didn't get it, but they got me. They hooked me.
What channel was that?
That's on Travel Channel as well, but also has some. It's a sister channel of Destination America. Okay. So I think you can see it on either one of those channels. The branding was on both. Yeah. It was a both brand situation.
You just Google Monster Hunter.
You do on your Philo.
On your Philo, you just
Mountain Monster. And you got 8 seasons ready to go.
Wow.
It's fantastic. Man. And those are just 2 things that you can find on Philo.
Man.
I love it. I love it. You never know what you're going to find. We're going to do 2 more things next week. Entirely 2 different things next week right here on the Philo Deep Dive.